Yeah, welcome all for week 12. So we are on the last week of this course of learning analytics tools. We have seen right from introduction to what is learning analytics, to introduction to different types of analytics which are part of learning analytics. And then we saw different techniques also for diagnostic analytics and predictive analytics. Then natural language processing was also touched upon, and multimodal learning analytics was also touched upon. So, this gave us the overall idea about what exactly is learning analytics and how you can use it. If you're more interested in a particular topic, then you can of course take help from internet, take help from ChatGPT, and know more about a particular topic in which you want to work. This course was in context with the learning data, but as you all know, that if we remove that learning data and we substitute that with the general data, this is more of a data science course or data analytics course, which will give you a fair idea of no, without coding, what is to be done when you have data and how to start analyzing that data. So this was till now, and week 12 is kind of wrapping up. Yeah, okay, great. So I have actually, Pushpa ma'am, I have pinned the link for the where I populate all the YouTube recording link, and how I populate the what you can say, the PDFs. That link to that Excel sheet I have pinned in the chat box. So I hope you can access, and once this is done and we are done with the revision session which I will be conducting next week, once we are done with that, I'll post it in the course forum through one of the TAs, right? So you will have access to this particular sheet through forum as well once we are done with revision session also. Ria is saying assignment questions will be enough for getting at least 50%. Yes, Ria, I would say don't get scared, because the final exam questions will be very similar to assignment questions. And as you have noticed, the kind of assignment questions which we solve in this session, even though these questions are from previous sessions, they are very similar to the assignment questions which are currently you are asked to solve. So this is very what you can say, in these sessions will also help you score more in the exam. And if you can go through the current assignment questions also once again, try to understand how the answers coming for that particular question, what the correct options are. And I have given you few tips and tricks, and don't worry, if there are more than one option correct, then partial marks are given. It is not considered completely wrong if you don't mark one of the right options, or if you mark only one right options, you will be awarded partial marks. So don't get nervous. I'm sure with little preparation you will score very good marks in this exam. We have actually done a lot of consistent work throughout this course, Ria. I'm sure if you kind of revise a bit, then you will be able to score. Don't be so nervous, with each pass. Don't, no need. The questions will be of the same nature as that of assignment, the current assignment questions, and the kind of assignments which we have been, the kind of questions which we have been solving in this session. So if anyone else is nervous, then please don't be nervous. The questions will be of very similar nature of what we have been solving. Yeah. So week 12 is more of a revision of what has happened till now. So it is more of a wrapping up of the course, where we would be revising important points of what is learning analytics, what is learning environment, how we can collect data in different learning environments, offline classrooms or face-to-face classrooms, and in online learning environment. So and how we can work with this data, that we have already seen. So to put it up, what is learning environment? An environment in which a teaching learning is happening. So right now our interaction is also a learning environment which is providing us platform for me also as a teacher, and platform for you also as a student. So this is also one of the learning environments. But mostly in conventional way, two types of learning environments are considered: face to face classroom or physical classroom, which we call as, or the online learning environments. So in face to face classrooms, mostly all the data is collected by either self reporting or human observation by teachers or by researchers. They will manually observe what is going on in the class and keep a record of what is happening with the help of timestamps, at what time what happened. So that event log is maintained by manual human observations. And then if we are to record some things which are influenced by individuals bias or individuals thinking, then we use multiple human observations to verify or cross check the validity of the data, validity of the observations. And that coding, the verification of by multiple humans, that is called inter-rater agreement. And that inter-rater agreement is measured using a parameter called Cohen's kappa. So if Cohen's kappa score is more than 70%, then your data is considered very good when it involves the human observation. Now in online systems, this bias doesn't come into picture, because our computer will be recording all the actions which are performed by the students with the learning environment. So now you consider Moodle or Swayam platform, for example. You could be signed up for multiple courses. So so it starts from the moment you logged into Swayam platform. After that, choosing which course to look at first, then going and watching videos. Either you can go sequentially, or you can watch the videos, only the videos which are of interest to you. So all those actions are logged along with the timestamp in the database, and that data then can be analyzed to understand, how students were behaving in that particular learning environment. But other than that, human observation can also be used to record particularly affect, or how engaged students are. So engagement and affect, for that human observations could be of more important. Engagement, behavioral part of the behavioral component of engagement can still be given by log data, but the affective engagement, the emotional engagement, and the emotional state of students, that is still better. That data is considered better in terms of the human observations. Because even for multimodal learning analytics, if we want to automate the affective computing, if we want to train our machine learning models to predict the affective state of the students, we need to have the ground truth. So that ground truth needs to be established via human observations. That's why human observations and self-reporting is listed for online systems as well as for face-to-face classrooms. So which what you can say, which medium for data collection to use, that totally depends on your variable of interest, what you are interested in. Whether you are interested in measuring performance, or whether you are interested in measuring their learner engagement or their emotional state. So depending on that, the mode of collection of data, that can be decided. Now before all these things, before we even start collecting the data, the most important point is to getting the consent from the students, you know taking the permission to collect their data from the participants or from the students. That is considered very ethical practice. It is part of data ethics in learning analytics. You should give the freedom to students that they can withdraw from the study whenever they feel like, or they can participate in your study but still not grant you the permission to use their data. That right also is with the participants. So they are free to kind of not participate in the study to participate in the study, but forbid you from using their data. No, so everything lies in between. All the rights, the majority of the rights are with the students or the participants of your study, and you have to kind of abide by. Uh, you have to respect their wishes. If they want to participate in your study and still not allow you to use their data, you you are supposed to follow that, and not using their data. So going to next point, I have some doubt in the chat box. Provide the detailed solution for week 7 assignments. Okay, so these type of questions or requests we will handle in next week. So next week we have a revision class, same time, Tuesday, 7 o'clock. So at that time, you can list down what are, if the special questions you want me to solve. Like here Dhanalakshmi ma'am has requested week 7 assignment question number 1, 4 and 6. So I will kind of make note of this somewhere, and then next week we can solve these questions, and then have our doubts cleared. Okay, so if any of you also has similar doubts or wants me to solve few questions, then please list it there with week number and the question number. Yeah, so I am noting it down, 1, 4 and 6. So next week in revision class we can take this up, right? I have chosen question 1 answer option, minimize the distance within the each cluster, but this option is incorrect and in evaluation, but the option is correct in your answer file. Okay, okay, sure, we'll take it up, and I will also take it up with the TAs of the course week 7. And if you have more such questions, not with the discrepancies of what is given in the solution, but where you need much detailed understanding of how the solution is found, okay, so please list them down. And if such thing happens in the final exam, then final exam actually is much more what you can say, in terms of evaluation, it is much more stricter compared to assignments. In assignments, generally what happens is we can disregard a few questions, but in final exam you can't disregard. So if such wrong options are deemed to be right, then everybody gets marks for that particular question. Okay, so don't worry about what happens if such thing happen in the final exam. If such thing happen in the final exam, then all those who attempted that question will get marks for that question. Okay, 146 is okay, sure. We'll take these questions up in the next week. Now measurement and data collection, what all instruments you can use for data collection, and again what data we can collect using these different instruments. Yeah, so survey data, what actions they are taking or how they are behaving in classroom, their quiz data, tests data, assignment evaluations. So all these are instruments which help us in determining, say quiz and test will help us in measuring the performance of students, you know. Similarly, this is the type of raw data, like what are the responses. This is without evaluation, how much total marks they have got. This is without evaluation. So their responses is raw data, and we need to convert it into features. What feature we can derive based on their responses to questions, marks, their total performance, with number of right questions which were answered rightly, and number of questions which were answered in wrong manner by them. So all that data we can derive from the responses, their responses. If we have the questions and students response, then we can have these have the information of their performance, how many questions right, how many questions wrong, and in wrong questions also what mistakes, if the questions are of descriptive types, then we can also find out the misconceptions which students may have, so all these features we can generate based on the responses to the questions. Then in terms of online learning environment, their clicks pertaining to their actions, what actions they are taking in the what you can say, their in the learning environment. Then clicks, number of clicks. So click stream is nothing but how many clicks are happening and in what sequence they are happening. With the help of timestamps, their log data or click stream data. So we use click stream and log interchangeably. Log is the log of actions along with the timestamp. Click stream is also similar. The actions which they are taking in the learning environment or computer based learning environment along with the timestamp. So we get the sequence of actions along with which action was performed when. So that information is considered as clickstream data. Then utterances is what students are saying, what they are talking about. So that so it could be their answers in the classroom, their discussion among themselves. So all that talking, the words coming out of their mouth are utterances. Expressions are of course their physical expressions, their affect state information. So all that will come under expressions data. Now to sum up with what are research areas in learning analytics. So mostly the whatever questions we have for this week, all that what you can say, we have seen that theory, we have kind of answered those type of questions throughout week 1 to week 11. So this week itself is kind of revision for what we have done till now. So we have seen that the content analysis, the extraction of strategies based on their log data, what learning strategies they have through pattern mining, then taking care of their privacy, then affective computing, determining their emotional state. By there I mean students, determining their students' emotional states. Then multimodal analytics using eye tracking along with log data, considering more than one modes of data to collect and to understand learning processes is multimodal analytics. Then data visualization with the help of different types of graph, different types of charts, how we can visualize the data which we have. Then self-regulated learning is nothing but understanding how students are regulating their own learning, how their learning processes are governed by their motivation, or how they divide their learning onto different types of processes such as planning process, monitoring process. So planning is before coming to this class, you planned your day in such a way that you joined this particular session at 7. So that was planning to learn. So that was planning phase. Now since you have joined, you are listening to me or monitoring what I'm talking, and whether you are understanding that or not. So that's monitoring phase. And so we have different types of learning processes which help us learn in better way. So all that is what you can say, all that thing is encompassed in self-regulated learning. Now intelligent tutoring systems are tutoring systems which are generally computer based tutoring systems, which will adapt to students need, which will identify students need based on their actions which they are performing, and then they will adapt their pedagogy or their teaching methodology to best suit it for students' need. So Shrija, I already told what is multimodal analytics, but I will repeat it again. So multimodal is when we use more than one modes of data to understand learners' learning in a better way. So one example I gave when I explained multimodal analytics is log data along with eye tracking data. Eye tracking data to understand where students were paying attention to the screen. So eye tracker data from eye tracker along with the log data, the clickstream actions which students were performing. So that tells us detailed information that helps us understand learning processes in better way. Yeah. So this was about this week's revision content. Now we have actually seen this ROC curve multiple times, in once in I think week 3 and once in somewhere in week 9 I think. So we have seen this ROC curve, and the main motive of ROC curve, or how to so ROC curves are performance of machine learning algorithm. So which is better performing machine learning algorithm, for which the area under the curve is maximum. Yeah, that's one thing you need to remember. I'm so happy all the options are correct. So this is my mistake, that there was either one, two, or B. I don't know why I wrote one and B and C also. So yeah, sorry for that. So for this line 2, for this ROC curve, the area is maximum, right? For all other curves, the area is not maximum. So this is the baseline for us, x is equal to y. So in with the ROC curve below this line is bad performance. We will not even consider it for our for our use. That performance is considered not good. And the algorithm for which the curve falls above this baseline, above this reference line, then they are considered, this performance is considered good. So the algorithm 1 and algorithm 2 will have will be chosen over 3. But out of algorithm 1 and 2, the algorithm 1 has maximum ROC curve, area under curve. So this is best ROC option. Yeah. Now question number 2. The research ethic forms an important part of the research. Which of the following is or are false in light of research ethics? Yeah, false, which are not true. So read the options carefully, and you can type. There could be multiple answers right for this question. So read all the options and decide which is not true, or which statement is false. Researcher cannot store the data beyond 5 years. Students who have given consent can withdraw it afterwards. Students can prevent others from participating in the study. Consent form should inform risk involved in the study. Okay. So those who are saying option 1, what is your rationale behind it? I can see majority of you going with option 3. Some of you are saying option 1 and 3. Some of you are saying 1 and 2. Anyone who has option 1 as their answers can either unmute and talk, or type in the chat box. Okay. Okay. But we can store data. Okay, but this I was asking those who think that 1 is the correct answer. Okay, fine, great. So you're right. We cannot store is not right. We can store data for more than 5 years also. So false, that means not true. So this statement is correct. Now coming to 2, I see a lot of you think that 2 is correct answer. Why you think 2 is correct answer? We are talking about which of the statements are false for research ethics. So statement 2 says students who have given consent can withdraw it afterwards. Is this true? Does this comes under research ethics, or it doesn't come? Is it ethical to allow some students who have given consent to withdraw? Okay, so Ria thinks if we use after that, it is not possible. No, Ria, you're wrong here. So what research ethics say that students can anytime they can withdraw from your study during the study, or once you have done the study they can withdraw the study. They can ask you not to use their data. Yeah, so that also comes under ethics, that full autonomy of that data goes to student. If the student or participant, if they allow you to use that data, only then you can use that data. So that permission they can withdraw once your study is done as well. Once you are done with all the data collection, after that some student can come and tell you that okay, please don't use my data, I'm not comfortable with it. Yeah, so this type of autonomy we have to give it to participants or students. Researcher cannot use data before 5 years. No, there is no such rule under research ethics that you cannot use that data before 5 years. Sometimes in fact this particular statement is very debated, because sometimes this data storage limit is 5 years only. Yeah, so sometimes this particular statement is true, that you cannot store it beyond 5 years. Yeah, so this particular statement is debatable, but for Indian case this statement is false. But if you are conducting any study in Europe, then where Europe the data usage laws are more stringent, they don't allow storage of data beyond 5 years. Yeah, so you cannot, you can collect this data from students, but you cannot store it or you cannot use it beyond fifth year of your data collection. So nothing, you have to use it before 5 years, not after 5 years. Okay, so this thing is false in EU, but in India this is still fine. Yeah, so again we will make it circle, because we are not specified whether we are in India or in European Union. Okay, so this particular statement is also true. True in case of European Union. This is true everywhere, in European Union also and in India also, that participants have full autonomy when researchers are collecting data. Then we'll go to option 4. The consent form should inform risk involved in the study. This is obviously true universally, anywhere, in India also as well as in European Union also. And now we will lastly come to option 3. Students can prevent others from participating in the study. So no, this statement is false. Students cannot prevent others from participating in our study, because we are informing about all the risks involved. We are informing about how we are going to collect the data, the time which a student is supposed to devote to this particular research work, and we are supposed to make it non-attached to their evaluations, meaning their performance in the research study should not hamper their final score or final evaluation in their school or college. Yeah, so all these things we need to take care of. And after that, one student cannot influence others from participating in our study. Yeah, so correct option is 3. One is doubtful. In India it is allowed to store that data beyond 5 years, but ideally under ideal circumstances, once you're done with using that data, once you're first you need to anonymize the collected data. That means you have to remove all the identifiable information from that data. Identifiable information such as their email ID, their names, or any other information which can help anyone identify that person or that student from their data. So we are supposed to remove such information or anonymize such information. So once we anonymize that data, we need to store it very securely, very safely, and other than the research team, we are not supposed to give access to that data to anyone. That is also unethical. Outside the research team, we are not supposed to share that data with any third party apart from the student themselves and the research team. Then after we are done with the analysis, the inferences, the report writing, everything is done. After that, we are not supposed to store that data for longer time. Yeah. Yeah. So we are not supposed to store that data for longer time with us, and we are supposed to delete that data. We can't store it beyond certain time limit. That's what European Union says, because then the risk with that data is gets higher, you know, because once that data becomes older, that data may be hacked by somebody, that data may be intercepted by somebody, and all the students information, the sensitive data, will be out in public domain, which is not desirable. So that's why with proper backups, use your data which you have collected, and once you are done, you're supposed to destroy that data, or store it in encrypted format, which will be hard to interpret or intercept by hackers. Okay, so that was about data ethics. Now this we have done so many number of times, so I'll be waiting for answers in the chat box for this question. So the following picture suggests which type of data analytics. Yeah, so Ria has a question. She is asking what will happen if hacking is done before withdrawal. So research ethics says that researcher is supposed to take utmost care of the data which they have collected, and they have to prevent it from hackers. They are supposed to store it not on the any internet based drive, but separate hard disks and store them safely, encrypt all the data before storing it in the hard disk, and not give those physical hard disks to anyone outside the research team. Yeah. So researchers are supposed to take care that the hackers don't get access to the data, and to avoid that, to keep that importance of the data safety to very high priority, the 5 year rule is imposed, that after 5 years maybe the research team will not be involved in the same project, so they will not be taking care of that data collected so much. Others may not know that what is there in those hard disk, and they may fall in wrong hands. That's why the 5 year rule is there. So don't worry about what happens if data is hacked before. Researchers are supposed to take care that data doesn't get hacked. Hmm? So now, okay, mostly I have gotten correct answer as prescriptive analytics. Option 3, it is not predictive analytics, but it is understanding. So doctor is understanding what is the symptoms, and they have prescribed something to the um, take this prescription. So they are prescribing something to the patient. Now in order to make your body recover, doctor will prescribe some medicine to the patient. This is the part of prescriptive analytics and not predictive analytics. They are not predicting that you have stomach ache, you have stomach flu, you are vomiting also, so that means you may have food poisoning. That conversation is not happening here. But what is happening is doctor is handing over the prescription to patient. So when you are prescribing something which will help patient's body recover from some illness, now we will map it to our learning environment. Now in order to improve the learning, or in order to optimize the learning environment for a particular learner, then what remedial actions we are prescribing to that particular learner, that is part of prescriptive analytics and not predictive analytics. Okay, so those who have said option 4 in the chat box, do you agree that it is prescriptive and not predictive? Yeah, so action is being taken to optimize the what you can say, the optimize the recovery of the patient from illness. And similarly in learning and analytics, when we translate this, the action will be taken to optimize the learning experience or the learning environment for learner. That's why it is prescriptive analytics and not predictive analytics. Now, question 4, which of the following sources were mentioned for obtaining data in this course? So, I have not included this in what you can say, our slides in the beginning, because that is already part of lectures in this week. So, mostly all of you have given correct answers in the chat box. Data Shop and Kaggle. So these are the two websites which will help us in getting the data. If you want to implement all the things which we have gone through in this course, if you want to understand or if you want to do it yourself on some data, demo data, then you can go to Data Shop or Kaggle and uh, try implementing what you have learned in this course. So Shrija is saying, I think the action taking to treat illness is prescriptive analytics. Yes, so this is the action being taken, right, by the doctor, that take this prescription. So this is the action being taken by the doctor to treat the illness. So this becomes prescriptive analytics, right, and not predictive. So Shrija, you had said option 4, which is predictive analytics. So it is not predictive, but it is prescriptive analytics. Doctor is prescribing something to treat illness. So you're right. But the option number you have said in the chat box was wrong. You said option 4, which was predictive. Yeah. So your thought process is correct, but the answer which you marked was wrong. So coming to question 5. Select the research areas from the following list which does not belong to LA research domain. Okay. So this also I will wait for the answers in the chat box. So which is not part of learning analytics research. Okay. So modeling learner engagement, privacy and ethics in share market, effective computing, increasing sales of e-commerce, resource allocation in academic institutions. Shrija, I spend enough time on each question. We will go back to this at the end because then the flow is lost. Now we are on question 5. I am reading options for question number 5. So we will go to question 4 at the end of the session. Now please pay attention to question 5. Otherwise you will not understand what are the correct options for this questions only. Okay. So if you have such things that you want me to go back to certain slide, please hold this till end of the session. Okay. So at the end of the session we can go to that particular question which you want me to take up. But right now let's go with the flow and be on question 5 and try to answer which of the option is not part of learning analytic research domain. So this answers are in the options itself. Very straightforward question. So this is share market, this is e-commerce, and this is resource allocation in academic institution, and whereas this talks about modeling learners engagement and effective computing. So we all know what is effective computing. Effective computing is determining the emotional state of the learners, of the students, so that we can modify the pedagogy or the teaching strategy accordingly. Yeah? So when we are talking about students, it is learning analytics. When we are talking about anything else, it is not learning analytics. So here we are talking about share market, here we are talking about e-courses, increasing sales of e-courses. Here we are talking about resource allocations for academic institutions. So all these options are not learning analytics, but modeling learner engagement, effective computing is part of learning analytics. Yeah? No, option 4 does not belong to learning analytics because we are talking about sales of e-courses. So sales of e-courses are in no way telling us how learning is going to happen by students, or it is not giving us any information about learning. So when we talk about learning analytics, we are majorly interested in students' learning processes, to understand how students are learning, so that we can optimize their learning environment. And sales of e-course is not, even though I may have said e-commerce while talking, but we are talking about sales of e-courses. So sales will not be telling us more insight, it will not be giving us more insights about how students are learning any particular course. Yeah, so we are talking about sales, which is more of resource allocation of academic institutions. So it will be part of academic analytics and not learning analytics, right? When we are dealing with profit making through learning environments, then that becomes part of academic analytics and not learning analytics. So if the question would be related to academic analytics, then this resource allocation and sales of e-courses, all this would have been part of academic analytics. But now we are talking about learning analytics. So this is not part of learning analytics, this is not part of learning analytics, and resource allocation is also not part of learning analytics. Okay? Okay, great. So we'll move on to question 6. Uh, yeah. So given below are the names of the conferences and their abbreviations. So there are only a few conferences in this area of learning analytics, and all these conferences are listed in the lecture videos and lecture slides. So there is nothing to explain here. So mostly these are the 3 conferences whose abbreviations are LAK, AIED, and ICCE. So you just have to remember their full forms. So learning analytics and knowledge is full form for LAK. AIED, as the name suggests, artificial intelligence in education, is AIED, and ICCE is International Conference on Computers in Education and not computing education. Okay, so these are computers in education. So those yeah, so I'm happy to see most of the correct answers in the options 2, 3 and 4. Yeah, 2, 3 and 4. So these are the established conferences in learning analytics where you can publish your research work. Research papers can be published in these 3 conferences. Question 7. Which of the following features can be extracted from MOOC platform? So MOOC is massive open online courses. So Swayam is a MOOC platform because Swayam is accessible by so many students across the globe. So that makes Swayam as MOOC platform. So you try to, whenever the question is related to MOOC platform, try to correlate everything with Swayam. What data can be stored or what features can be extracted using your interaction with Swayam. So answer these questions based on that. Now I'm going to read the options. So option 1 says time spent on discussion forum. So when we are capturing the clickstream data, clickstream is timestamp and what button has been clicked by the student. So can we calculate the time spent on a particular page such as discussion forum? Because there is a timestamp getting captured with every action. So we can, based on the timestamp, we can calculate the time spent on particular action, right? So we can do this. We can calculate time spent on discussion forum, or we can calculate time spent on watching videos also. We can calculate time spent on looking at the lecture slides. So all this time spent can be calculated because we are capturing the timestamp associated with that particular action. So with the help of timestamp, we can compute time spent. So we have timestamp of one action, say watching one video, or say clicking on the discussion forum. Let's consider this example only. And then I'm coming back from it and then watching video. So the next action, like clicking on discussion forum, was one action. The action very next to that action was watching the week 4 video. So I have timestamp associated with clicking of week 4 and clicking on discussion forum. I can subtract the timestamp of both the action to get the time spent on discussion forum. Do you understand? At 1 minute, yeah, at 1 minute 2 seconds, I clicked on discussion forum, and at 1 minute 2 minutes, sorry, at 2 seconds, and at say 3 minutes 58 seconds, I clicked on week 4. This information I have. So based on these two data points, can you calculate how much time I have spent on discussion forum? DF is discussion forum. So can you tell me how much time I have spent on discussion forum? Can I subtract this timestamp from this timestamp? Can I subtract one? At 1 minute 2 second I entered discussion forum. At 3 minute 58 seconds I clicked on week 4. That means I came out of discussion forum at 3 minute 58 seconds. So time spent on discussion forum was 2 minute 56 seconds, right? So that is how you can calculate the time spent on discussion forum or on any page or any activity. So this we can compute. Then number of videos watched. Of course we can calculate this, how many times a video link was clicked by a student in one particular session or throughout the course. All these numbers we can compute. Now their planning strategy, how well they have planned. So this is outside the learning environment, so we will not be able to capture this, or we will not be able to compute this about their planning strategies, how they have planned. Then average session time. So based on the time stamps, can we compute how much time they are spending on each session when they are logging in? Of course we can compute that. Then last option, number of times a particular video is played and paused, because we are capturing every action including play and pause. So we can capture how many times a student has paused a particular video, how many times they have replayed that particular video. All this information we can capture, and we can count how many times these particular actions were taken by the students. Yeah, so this also we can do using log data. So 1, 2, 4 and 5. Only their planning strategy, which they would be doing outside the learning environment, that we will not be able to compute or capture in MOOC platform. So coming to question 8, which of the following feature tool have been mentioned in the course that are used in the industry? So this also you will find in the lectures. So there is nothing to explain here. These are just names of the tools which are widely used in industry for this data analytics. So H2O AI and Data Robot are the two tools which are used widely. So there is nothing to explain for this particular question. So we'll move on to question 9. So question 9 says select the correct option from the about following statements. So statement 1 says you can use Python and R programming language to perform learning analytics. So statement 2 says Plotly is learning analytics tools used for clearing raw data. So Plotly is the name of the it is given as name of one of the tools used for clearing raw data or cleaning raw data, right? So these are the statements. So you have to tell if statement 1 is correct or statement 2 is correct or wrong based on that. Okay, I'm very happy to see the correct explanations about statements. Okay, so when I was saying Plotly is the tool, I was just giving explanation about the statement. I didn't mean that statement 2 was right. Okay, let me just give clarification. So all of you are right that Plotly is a data visualization tool and not the data cleaning tool. Okay, so I was just what you can say, I was just telling you about this statement because many of you might not know Plotly. That's why I was telling that Plotly could be the it is name of the tool. Okay, so don't misunderstand me. These are the plain statements and statement 2 is wrong. Plotly is used for data visualization and not clearing raw data. So I am happy all of you are giving me correct options. Option 1, statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is wrong. Okay, there is no till now there is no tool for data cleaning purpose. We have to do data cleaning by ourselves, mostly manually. Look at the data, understand what is going on, and then keep the relevant data and delete the irrelevant data. So all that thing we have to do it by ourselves. Till now I don't know of any analytics tool which will help us in doing that automatically, because we have to invest our efforts in cleaning of raw data. Okay, visualization upgraded version of Matplotlib. It is much easier to use than Matplotlib, by the way. Plotly is very intuitive, much easier to use. So Tableau, Plotly, all these are no code data. They just work on your clickstream. You don't have to put in special efforts to create fancy graphs. Yeah? Okay, coming to question 10. So this is last question for today's session. Now select the correct option about the following statement. Again, there are two statements given and we have to tell if one of them is correct or one of them is incorrect and so on. Okay. So TensorFlow is ML model builder tool, and statement 2 is feature tools is open source tools for feature engineering and storage. So you have to tell about whether one is right or one is wrong or both are right. Yeah, Nilabji, you are right. TensorFlow is used for deep learning, but incidentally, deep learning is also part of machine learning. Do you agree with me? So that makes this statement correct, right? TensorFlow is used to build the machine learning models, deep learning models. So in a way, you can say that TensorFlow is machine learning model builder. Yeah, so statement 1 is correct, and of course statement 2 is correct. Feature tools is feature tool for feature engineering and storage. So correct statement for this particular question would be both are correct. Yeah. Because deep learning is still under umbrella of machine learning, right? It's a specialized branch of machine learning. So TensorFlow still deals with machine learning. So this statement is kind of correct. So any doubts in this particular question? No. So Shrija had asked for some question 4, I think. Yeah. So we'll go to question 4. Let me just. Yeah, she wanted question 4. So yeah. So this question was also very straightforward, Shrija. These names are given in the lecture itself. So if you go through the lecture, then you will get to hear these names. So there is no explanation for this particular question. These are the websites where you can get the data which is out there in public domain. Kaggle is most famous website. Till few years ago, Kaggle's data science challenge was considered very uh, good, and if you are able to clear that data science challenge, then that would be reflecting very nicely on your CV. But right now, because there is no meaning of Kaggle, Shrija. These are all websites. Datashop and Kaggle are all websites which give you data, which give you access to data which is in public domain. So there are certain websites which already give us some data which they have generated, which they have not collected. So that data doesn't belong to anyone, or the data which is available in public domain, which government collects from students. So all that data is available on this website. So there is no meaning of Kaggle, there is no meaning for data shop, but these are the names of that websites. So Ria, we had many numericals in this course. So if you could kind of point out which type of numericals you want to revise, then maybe we can have that. All the numericals will be very tough to revise. We can take one type of I don't know, one type of each numerical or something like that. We can try aiming for that, but I'm not sure. Yeah, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let me note down this also. We can try. So, Pushpa ma'am and Arnav sir's suggestions. Okay, Arnav is not asking about exams. So, one example using box plot to find the percentage. So, okay, this box plot I can take up today. It will not take much time, but other requests we can take it next week. Okay. So 5, 6, 7, and weightage of theoretical and numerical question. There is no division for theoretical and numerical questions, but generally it is observed that mostly it will be similar to week's weightage. From every week, couple of questions will be there. Like at least three to four questions will be there from every week in the final exam. So based on that week's content, so out of 12 weeks, it was the numericals were hardly there for 4-5 weeks. So there will not be many numericals in the exam. It depends on which week had numericals. Exam pattern is usual NPTEL exam patterns, 50 questions, and I mean, yeah, whatever the exam pattern is there, it will be same usual NPTEL exam pattern. Questions will be very similar to assignment questions. Few wordings here and there could be there. Sometimes you will notice that the questions are too similar or same questions, because the questions which we have solved now are of previous year. So you may get the same questions which we have solved in the class, and similar questions to what you have solved in the assignment. Okay, so don't worry about this exam pattern or anything. Just try focusing on assignment questions and you will do good. Okay. So this is how the box plot Dhanalakshmi ma'am, I share, please go to the pinned comment which is first in the meeting chat, that has previous year's assignment solutions, that has link to the PDFs which I use in every session, and my marked PDF with correct answers and everything. So this you will find in the on that Excel sheet which I have shared in the chat box. Okay. Yeah. So now coming to box plot. So this is how the box plot looks. So how we draw the, or how we make the box plot is, we depict the distribution. So this is the so this is first quartile, this is second quartile, this is third quartile, and this is fourth quartile. So we arrange that data values from ascending order, from lowest value to the highest value, and then this is the median value or the middle value. Yeah. So 50% of our data points will be lying from this point to this point, and top 50%, this will be bottom 50%, and top 50% will be from this middle value to this highest value, right? So each of the quartile q1 will have 25% of data point. This will be q2, or second quartile, it will have next 50%, it will have next 25%. This will have third quartile, next 25% of the data point, and this was fourth quartile, next 25% of the data point. So now in the middle of the box plot, this area, 25% from second quartile and 25% from third quartile, total 50% of the data points, they fall in this middle area, q2 and q3 together, and this is called interquartile range. So difference between this point and this point, q2 and q3 point, this was IQR or interquartile range. So this is how 25% of the data falls here, 25% of the data points fall in second quartile, 25% in third quartile, and 25% in last quartile. So that is how we find the percentage of data points, how many of the total data points were falling where. Okay. How to calculate if my range is in anywhere of the q2 and q3 box? No, so range, interquartile range is this point, q3 point minus q2 point, right? Difference between them, this is median. So IQR is q3 minus q2. Difference between this box plot, this is IQR, which is q3 and this is q1 point, this is q4 point, q2, q3. So, and this is median. So the difference between q3 and q2 is IQR or interquartile range. Okay. So if there are any suggestions for revision class next week, apart from week 5, 6 and 7 numericals, so we will focus on week 5, 6 and 7 numericals next week. Those of you who have doubts or want to redo the numericals, then we can do it next week for week 5, 6 and 7. I'll prepare the questions accordingly. I will try to consider this year's assignment questions for next week's session, since all the assignments would be submitted by that time. So we should be free from that unethical practice of answering the questions before the submission deadline, right? So I will try to pick up questions from this week's assignment. So if you have any special request for from this week's assignments, the difficult questions, I will once go through the forum for this course to understand if you have any particular questions which to take care of. So one such questions were suggested, question number 1, 4 and 6 from week 7, and week 5, 6, 7's numericals, right? Apart from that, if you have any suggestions for revision week, Then you can either unmute and talk or type in the chat box. Okay, entropy, noting it down, multiple regression. Entropy. Multiple regression, Bayes probability theorem. Okay. So we'll try to cover numericals on all these topics. Okay. I didn't get binary encoding. Did we do binary encoding? ROCAUCIM. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, one hot encoding was there.
Okay, okay, yeah, one hot encoding. Okay, yeah, yeah, sure. One hot encoding we can do. I didn't recognize binary encoding. Okay, okay. Hot okay. I was still in numericals, so there are no numericals on one hot encoding or binary encoding. So I'm still stuck in that numericals thing. ठीक है. Yeah, we can touch upon what is binary encoding. Yeah. Anything else? Agglomerative clustering. Okay. Okay, good thing is that most of the topics which you have listed are very simple to calculate and easy to do. Uh, so we should be able to cover everything in 1.5 hours, 2 hours next week. Anything else? Yeah, I have noted week 7 question number 146. I will check. I will go to this week's assignment. So problem with me is that I have so many other things going on that I have not seen this year's assignment at all. After this session, I will go and check all the assignments and see. Okay, so I don't know what is going on currently in the course, so I will not be able to comment unless I see the question and answers. Okay, so next week I have noted that down, week 7 question number 1, 4 and 6. So we will do that also. Numerical question week 9 question 1. Okay, week 9 question 1. Discussion 4, you have mentioned in discussion forum, then probably it will be taken care of. Huh? Okay, okay. So ठीक है, I will try to, actually I'm not able to contact the NPTEL folks because I'm not sure if they have shared this Excel sheet with you or not. So let's see, I will again try to convey this to Ram sir and see if he can contact them and get things moving. Okay, so this one thing I can do. I will try to get in touch with NPTEL people who are taking care of this assignments and grading of assignments, and I will try to see what can be done to question 1, 4, and 6. Yeah, okay, then we can. I think if there are no more things coming up, then we can end today's session here. So we have finished all the weeks. Next week we'll try to do more focused work, and I will try to. I will upload it immediately in maybe 2-3 minutes. Yeah, this PDF copy, this week's the copy which I used for today, I generally upload it very immediately after this session gets over. Yeah, so don't worry, you will have access if you keep that Excel sheet open in your mobile or laptop from wherever you are attending. If you keep that Excel sheet open, you will notice that the PDF gets uploaded to that folder immediately after this thing, and you have access to the folder where I will be uploading this PDF also. So this will come out immediately. The week 12 PDF will come out immediately. Don't worry about it. And YouTube video will take around 1 hour because it's generally one more than 1 hour long, so it is very large. It takes time to upload it on YouTube. So by tonight you should be able to access that link also. I will update the link immediately, but that link will not be accessible until the processing happens of that video. Yeah, so that takes some 1 hour roughly. So you will get access to this recordings after 1 hour by tonight, and PDF you will get access immediately. Okay, sure, we'll take week 7 numerical problems also. Yeah, week 7 I have already noted, so we'll try to solve week 7 numericals. Yeah. Okay, so if there is nothing else, shall we end this meeting today? Okay, great. See you all next week for revision class. Yeah, thank you so much. Ending this call now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, ending this call now.